Welcome back to the Delaware Way. I'm Larry Mendte. We are pleased to be joined by Gene Peacock, who is the director of the Brandywine Zoo, and Matt Halterman, who is the outreach program manager. And you brought a guest, but before we do that, I do need to talk about your last name, because I'm certain all of your life, Gene, people have been teasing you about the last name.
With the last name Peacock, you get it every once in a while. I've been working in zoos since 1988, and so I've heard from day one, you have a perfect last name to work in a zoo. So it's nothing new, but yeah, I hear the jokes all the time.
I'm surprised NBC hasn't come in and swooped you up. You should be on NBC at least once a week with animals.
For the right contract, we could work something out.
And I get a percentage at this point.
There we go.
We'll talk about the zoo while we bring out the guest. Why don't you bring out the animal, and how do people get to the Brandywine Zoo? All
right, the Brandywine Zoo is located in Brandywine Park, right in the heart of Delaware. We're just off North Park Drive, so you can access us via I-95. You can come through downtown, and we're just, like I said, right there in the park. It's a really nice experience. You can see the zoo, spend some time along the riverside. Just a great day out.
Oh, that's great. And you would meet this guy.
Yep, this is one of our education animals, and one of our program animals that we use for outreach, as well as programming in the zoo, and this is our blue-tongued skink. And I will, if Matt, you could tell us a little bit about him.
This is Bluebeard. It's our blue-tongued skink. She lives with us at the Brandywine Zoo. They're native to Australia, and you can see they get that major name, the blue-tongued skink, coming from that large blue tongue that you see her sticking out every few minutes here. And that's one of her major forms of defense. When she gets scared, what she'll do, she'll kind of puff herself up, stick out that tongue, and give a really loud hiss. And for the most part, that's going to generally scare off a lot of different types of predators.
Is it he?
This is actually a girl.
Does she bite?
She has the ability to bite. Just like children, they have a mouth, they can bite. Animals are the same way. But she's only going to bite if we attempt to hurt her or try to eat her in a certain way, or if we are her favorite food, which is a slug. So there's not really a major chance that she's going to go after us.
And all of our program animals, they're used in a large number of programs during the year. And these guys they're used to being around children. They're used to being out on programs. And being at events. So they're very comfortable with it. So if you handle them correctly and you treat them right, then usually you're not going to be bitten.
Am I able to hold this?
Sure. If you'll just support her.
Okay.
And just let her go right up one arm.
Now, will you be able to tell if she's in any kind of distress, or if she's not happy?
As long as you support her with any reptile, as long as you support them and they feel comfortable, they're pretty much okay.
Okay, I didn't hear any hissing yet, so
no.
I imagine okay. What is the predator?
Oh, they're going to have a lot of different types of birds of prey. Are going to be a major predator for them, and a lot of smaller mammals, or carnivorous mammals. In Australia, there's another type of snake that looks almost identical to her shaping. So if you think about the birds of prey when they're flying over, they're going to think she's a venomous snake. So more often than not, they're going to leave her alone. Yeah,
she's surprisingly not slimy. You know,
reptiles are not slimy. That's a misconception. People think snakes and lizards are slimy. Amphibians have the slime coat. Frogs, salamanders, toads, they have the slime, as that's a coating on their skin that helps them survive when they're out of the water. But reptiles actually tend to be very smooth. Unless you have like an alligator, it's smooth, but it also has the plates. So yeah, reptiles are not slimy.
Is she endangered at all, or is there plenty of these guys in Australia?
These guys are not an endangered species. There are some skink species are endangered, but the blue-tongued skink is one that's fairly common.
Great.
And you do see them in the pet trade, which, apart from their natural predators, in the case of a lot of animals like your skinks, your snakes, and then if you expand it into fish you see in aquariums, man is probably the biggest threat to them, where people collect them for pets and the pet trade. You try to get these from breeders from in captivity and not collect animals out of the wild. So that's really one of the other great threats to these guys.
Now, if children come to the zoo, can they hold the skink or no?
Normally we don't let them hold them, but we have a posse. It's a two-finger touch. And so when children come, they'll two fingers and they can touch her like that. And then with any reptile, after you're done, you always want to wash your hands. So.
We have another guest. When we come back in just a moment, we have another guest that's a little faster and a little bit more active. So this should be fun when we continue on the Delaware Way, and I'll hand the skink over.